I got quote tweeted by AEW Full Wrestling.
Oh, please tell me. But no, but set it up. We can't just talk about the Twitter thing without actually telling people what we're talking about. So please tell me with the context in which AEW Full Wrestling has decided to quote tweet you.
Yeah, so they were having some bullshit thing about TNA, and they said the big difference between TNA at the time and AEW at this time is that TNA did not run 10,000 seat arenas to start. They started off small, had a solid wrestling mind overseeing it, and knew how to build stars around their angles, stings, bookers, and RVDs, so stop it. Now, there's many things wrong with that statement. First of all, TNA did run big arenas at the start. It failed, so then they gave up and they found their one location. They solid wrestling mind overseeing it is some hell of for a Vince Russo-led company?
Even if you want to be extremely generous to that person, and you shouldn't be because they're wrong, they don't know what they're talking about. Even if they're like Jerry Jarrett.
Yeah. Who is the best of all the bad wrestling minds overseeing it, by the way?
Yeah. He was also like deeply, horribly out of touch with the mainstream wrestling product.
And then, of course, the other Hellerian is building around stars, angles, stings, bookers, and RVDs. I remember seeing all of their classics in the Nashville Fairgrounds. I don't know about you.
They definitely didn't overshadow the Styles and Daniels of the world in like 2008.
Yeah, and anyway, I just simply posted that it was like, and this wasn't even like, I wasn't really trying to make any point here. It's just interesting and funny. But that, AEW Dynamite did emanate from the location of Total Nonstop Action #1, the Von Braun Center in Huntsville, Alabama, 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a little nod to the TNA, AEW running all these different big buildings, whatever, And then they have just responded to that with, boy, they are really digging in the archives for a W, aren't they? First of all, I was responding to literally the things that you said about them running buildings early on. First, TNA wasn't backed by a major TV network, and it was their first episode, ... on pay-per-view.
Because they couldn't get television. It wasn't because they didn't want television.
And then as soon as they got TV, they fucking abandoned their weekly pay-per-view model.
Nearly instantly. Took 3 months.
AEW had a TV network, 230 episodes under their belt, and Okada yet only drew 2,100 more people than TNA's premiere. Fuck irony. That's pathetic.
Good job, buddy.
It's like, okay. Again, you're really reaching for a lot of intent in my post here when I was just like, haha, building.
Also, like, part of the reason I wanted to do this show is because people do not understand TNA history. Because, like, there are interesting comparisons you can draw between the launch of AEW and the launch of TNA. Because, like, AEW spent a lot more money a lot faster and probably have lost a lot more money a lot faster than TNA ultimately did. Because TNA had a relatively small financial backing at the start, and Tony Khan is a fucking billionaire. But also, like, the talent situation completely different in 2002 versus when Tony Khan started AEW in 2019. So, like, it's apples to oranges. The people who were available to TNA in 2002 compared to the people who were available to AEW in 2019. And then also, as you mentioned, television situation, like, Tony Khan is a very rich billionaire who owns, like, football clubs and American football clubs. So he has ins with the likes of maybe a TBS or a TNT and with Warner Bros. Discovery that got him those opportunities. But, like, you can make interesting comparisons between the two they're like, AEW had advantages that TNA didn't have, but also everything this person is saying is untrue.
Yeah. Even more so, it's cherry picking through 20 years of history to make very specific points. And then, like, the complete, like, erasure, or, like, what are we doing? We're just pretending that Vince Russo was a great wrestling mind now?
I think if you had Vince Russo book a 2024 WWE style wrestling product, people would fucking love it.
Yeah, but it wasn't successful, ever.
No, it would be bad still, but I think people are so broken by bad wrestling that they simply accept the bad wrestling now.
They embrace it. They make it their whole personality.
It used to be like a relatively small subsect of TNA fans that were laughed at, the TNA Mecca people. And now everybody is just TNA Mecca. Well, not everybody. It's also a problem that we have with the internet. Whereas, like, I am just as guilty because I quote tweeted that same tweet you just read out earlier from this dope. So, like, some of us we're all guilty of it, that, like, we engage with wrestling on terms with, like, the dumbest people imaginable. Because, like, there was a couple instances in the last few weeks I'm like, guys, why are you talking about these things? Like, there are people who did, like, articles and think pieces about the Maxine Dupree being booed thing. I'm like, that was a talking point from Diva Stan Twitter. Like, what are you doing? Why are you earnestly engaging with the talking point from Diva Stan Twitter? Why are you, like, lowering yourself to engage on the terms of Diva Stan Twitter? Like, you're just stupid. It's the same, like, after the Sting match, where there was a kind of people who are acting in bad faith, pearl clutching about the Darby Allin bump, and it's like, no amount of you saying they're wrong is going to stop them from doing this next time. They're doing it for engagement, they're doing it for attention, and you are giving it to them. You are playing your role in giving them engagement and giving them attention. And like, I get why people do it, because it's really easy numbers. It's really easy numbers on Twitter to go, no, actually that move was sick. And people will be like, hell yeah, and then you'll have your side and they'll have their side, and everyone is like feeding into the same toxic feedback loop, and then the same people will turn around and say, oh, it's toxic. It's like, no, you're contributing to it. You're like part of the cycle. You can't say it's bad when you're the part of the people feeding it. And like, I'm not sitting on my high horse saying I don't do this, but it frustrates me that we keep doing this. Like, we keep seeing through it. We keep seeing like what this is and how it's all a grift. Nothing matters. No one is earnest. No one is sincere, but we can't stop ourselves from engaging with it no matter how hard we try.
I got added by someone right now, and I'm like, I'm itching to respond.
Fucking raging at this complete stranger.
Because this is so stupid. The response is so stupid, Karen. I have to respond to it and let them know how stupid they are. Otherwise, they won't know.
It's and like for stuff like wrestling, like it's wrestling, it's low stakes, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. But like, this is the same way we engage with stuff that's serious now too. Like this is like this all of politics has become this same thing with people just shouting at each other and fulfilling a role, and it's all become noise. And like that, it's much more damaging over there because that matters as opposed to this stuff which doesn't.
But I just got told that I need to know my history. So
well, tell them there's a really good TNA history podcast they can listen to. We've done 46 episodes. We've done hundreds of hours of discussing this stuff.
The irony of posting an NWA-TNA pay-per-view and not TNA TV. The first of NWA weekly pay-per-view that ran for 111 weeks before NWA was dropped, and they became their own promotion in 2004. Mm-hmm.
That's wrong. Incorrect.
Also, the show did 500 paid.
I think it was a little bit higher, but...
If you're gonna troll, at least know your history. What do you think my point was?
Your point was just that they ran the same building.
Yeah, this guy seems to... I was like, what is the... First of all, became their own promotion is incorrect. But, like, what... I'm not talking about TV or pay-per-view. I'm literally talking about they ran the same building, and that's funny considering you said they didn't run big buildings.
Yeah.
That was simply the only thing I said, and now it's like, whatever. It's very funny. I'm sorry, at Big Daddy Beef 69. You have owned me. I will die, I guess.
I'm afraid Big Daddy Beef will now be replacing you on the show. He is the preeminent expert in TNA history.
But
are you replying to Big Daddy Beef?
I'm using it as a podcast plug.
You know what? Fair enough.
There we go.
You done tweeting?
No, never. I will never log off.
I got the notification for you, so I know you're done.
I am here forever.